I've got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me, so deep in my heart that you're really a part of me.
I've empowered myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. I've empowered myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Will you help me? Oh. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me? So, when it comes to healing, we're in a spirit world, we're in a spirit universe full of healing intent, full of it. There's a saying that goes that for every single human being on earth, there's a football stadium of people in the spirit world, angels and guides and family and friends and supporters who are willing to help if you ask. So that's why Will You Help Me was added on to the empowerment process. Robbie Holtz has a healing team, and she does work almost identical to what Language Lessons of the Heart is. She has her spirit people, in which she has dozens of them, very powerful spirit beings that she works with, she connects to, and they find what the discord is in a human being. If it's a long-standing discord of like your father abandoned you or felt abused or any of that kind of stuff, whatever it is, they find that core issue and help you resolve and dissolve it. And that's what we do with Language Lessons of the Heart. You find out where you were disconnected, where your sense of self and okayness was split, and that becomes a wound. That becomes your trauma, that becomes your karma. Whether it's a bad relationship or whether it's parents who demanded that you perform on a higher level than you felt like you could, and you always felt like you weren't good enough. These are splits, psychic splits, and they're places where we can't go. So, and growing up in this strange society that we live in, we all isolated alone. Be yourself, do it yourself, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You know, it's you against the world. But that's not really true. When you get into the healing your heart, healing your spirit, healing your will, and healing your body, you're not alone. It's a team thing. It's a connected thing. You're connected to the healers. You're connected to the spirits. You're connected to the nature, to human nature, and to this nature, and to the sky, to the trees. You're connected to all these things. And you're part of them, and they are part of you. They're inside. The whole universe permeates your body. You're made out of light and energy. And that's what the universe is made out of, light and energy. So the empowerment process is about reclaiming that ground that was taken from you. And it's taken from you where every place you have guilt or shame or judgments or laws or rules or regulations of things you can't do, places you can't go, things you can't feel. Like, it's a huge problem that people they're not allowed to love themselves. They think that that's greedy or egotistical to have self-love. So we can't even love ourselves. That's a ground, a nation that you can't go. You know, you're the king, queen of this nation, of your being. If you can't go there, then you're an outcast in your own kingdom. And this is what the empowerment does. It reclaims your territory, the ground that you weren't able to go to. So you have emotional ground, mental ground, judgmental ground, all these things, space, things that you're disconnected from, memories that you can't remember. You have things that have been denied you that you have had to deny because they were too hard. And wherever you can't go is where you're diminished. And eventually this wears and tears on a human being, and you suffer. You suffer from your separation. And what the empowerment process does is it reclaims the land that was taken from you by accident and by whatever circumstances that happened in your life. So it's claiming your territory and asking for help, to being part of the world, part of the universe, part of the spirit world, part of the creation, part of the light, part of the energy, part of the will of life.
Well, I'm recording now. Let's take a little look around. So, my new camera rig, checking it out. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? What's that all about? Well, people like stories. So whenever you go to a place, you make a story about it. My hometown, my family, there's a story about everything. Really, what you really want to do when you want to heal and evolve is go beyond the story or change your story. And the oldest story that there is who we are, and that is the ground of being is absolute inclusivity and unconditional love. That's who we are. That's what everything. There's only one thing. Now, that's the original state of the universe, of us, of what is. But then one time, and in that there's no identity, there's no self, there's no I, no other, no me and mine, no nothing like that. But in that, inclusive of the whole universe, attention gets focused on something. Still no I, still no self, still no time, still no space, but it gets focused on a location. And this location, let's say, is a Godhead. And as soon as that desire to experience the Godhead happens, you form an essence that wants to go to the Godhead. So you go. And in that going away from absolute inclusivity and unconditional love, you go to the Godhead. So you say, I'll be leaving this absolute inclusive place and explore this very small exclusive place, the Godhead. So you go to the Godhead. There's all this stuff going on in the Godhead. You know, universes are being created, light is happening, all this love is happening. And then that's sort of like the beginning of time. There's me, and then there's this Godhead light creative energy manifesting. So that's the beginning of time, the beginning of your time. So you hang out there, and that's also very inclusive because, you know, that Godhead thing is in everything and omnipresent and all that. So that's kind of cool. Then your attention gets focused onto what is being manifested here. So stars and planets. So you go, well, I think I'll be leaving the Godhead and go check out what it is to be a star or a planet. And so you go and you hang out as a star, you hang out as a planet, solar system, or you start as a galaxy. Just look at this galaxy. So you're still in the Godhead, and you're in the galaxy, and you're still in absolute inclusivity and unconditional love. But now you have the story of the Godhead and what the Godhead does, and the story of the galaxy and what the galaxy does, and the story of what is a planet and what is a, you know, what is a star. Because you've been those things. You went there and felt them fully. Then you see, well, I am a star, but I can't see myself. You know, when I'm the Godhead, I can see everything, but as a star, I can only see myself, and as a planet, I can only see stars in the Godhead. So I wonder what happens if I go deeper, and then you become a manifested spirit. So you said, I'll be leaving the Godhead, and I'll be leaving being a star, I'll be leaving the universe. And then and each time you step down into more and more exclusivity. You are also inclusive, and you're still connected to that inclusive, but then you become exclusive. So now you're an exclusive manifested being, and then you leave the Godhead. So you go, I'll be leaving the Godhead. That's cool. And then you become some kind of spirit, some kind of animal. Maybe you're an invisible spirit, and then you hang out with all the other invisible spirits. Then you go, I'll be leaving that, and then eventually you become a human being. So, and then the human being forms their identity out of pure exclusivity. I am born to this family, my name is this, exclusively that, and my family did this, and my nation is that. So you hang out there, and the thing that you don't really notice in all that inclusivity stuff that's becoming gradually more exclusive, and what was unconditional love becomes conditional love. I am a son, and my love is the light that I give and the energy I receive. That's an exclusive kind of a thing. And each one of those separations, every place that you left, that separation is a little bit of painful because you're less than absolute inclusivity and unconditional love. You're a little bit less. As a star, you're less. As a galaxy, you're less. As a spirit, you're less. And then as a human being, you're less. But we've become fascinated with the story. We want to know that story. What's that story of being a human? Of being exclusively a human? What's that struggle? But each time we do that separation, there's a little bit of pain, suffering that happens from being separated. So eventually the pain gets to be too much, and you go, wow, this separation stuff is starting to get to me. And then there's this little nagging thing, and way in the back of your consciousness, way at the core of your being, before everything, there was the ground of being, which was absolute inclusivity and unconditional love. And here you are in the story of my house, my family, my kids, my history, my incarnations, my lifetime, my planet, my E.T. brothers and sisters, all the story. So what Language Lessons of the Heart does, and what the empowerment process does, is that is the beginning of the process of turning from being the most exclusive, least loving, unconnected thing that there is, to begin to turn towards what is connected and what you can connect to. So there's stories about feelings, there's stories about your past lives, there's stories about your history, there's stories about your wounds. All these stories, all these imaginations are all stored inside of you, and they are what holds you exclusively as a manifested spirit. So when we say, I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will, and you say it 10,000 times, what's actually happening, and it's took me a long time to be able to put this into words, what's actually happening is you're not only are you have that one moment where you begin to turn from the path of exclusivity and separation, which leads to suffering and anxiety and all the kind of troubles in the world. You begin to turn to what is inclusive. And that means what are the full range of feelings. So you say, I'm empowering myself with a loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me with a full range of feelings? So that's ground. You're like including the full range of feelings. So you're turning a corner. Instead of being just, an uptight person, or just afraid person, or just a loving person, or just, you have the full range. So that's becoming more inclusive. You're including that. And everything you include builds on the change that you want to go to, which is to be an inclusive being. Now the other thing is about separation, is we have all these beings that we pass through, that we said goodbye to. I'll be leaving you, right? And we can actually go back and recover them. So, like the trees, the sky, I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? And the earth, and all the beings that are therein, which is a lot of them. So you say it over and over and over again, because it took a long time for you to be this separated. And you can't go back like this because of the stories. So what you really do with the empowerment, I want to live, I want to be fulfilled, will you help me? What you're really doing is you're recovering your connection. You're allowing what is the ground of your being, which in Language Lessons, the heart terms, we call that our will or our soul. You're allowing that to explore, connecting to a tree. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. The sky, the earth, all the beings, all the history, all the lifetimes. You explore all that and connect. So when you say, I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will, and what the will is the will represents your connection to the ground of being. So that means you want your will to connect to the ground of being and become inclusive again. This is why you say the empowerment 10,000 times. Now, part of your story is, as a child, when you were inclusive and when you were excited about what is life, what is this, what is a cup, and what is a potty, and what is the carpet. You get excited about all that. You want to find out about all that. And then you were told, no, don't spill the cup, don't walk on the carpet, and all this stuff. So you get told no 56,000 times. So to say, your empowerment's 10,000 times is only 1 out of 5 times that you got told no. So this is like a rebalancing to get you back to the place where you can connect again to what is authentically you and what you have left because of your believing. So this helps with believing. So you're reuniting, your reunion, your yoga of connecting back to all the things that there is. all the emotional things, all the mental things, all the memories, and all your imaginations. So that's really important, because that's the whole scope. And each one of these imaginations and memories and past lives, and each one of these things is a place that you can return to, your soul can return to. And the will you help me is that there's only one thing in the universe, only one substance, only one being. And when you start calling out individual little pieces of it, will you help me? I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal. Will you help me? That is connecting to a little piece. And you want to, because you've lost little pieces at a time, in the past, now you recover little pieces at a time. So it's kind of hard to kind of understand it, but this is really what the empowerment is, and why it is so powerful when you do it 10,000 times. And so that's like maybe 100 times a day for 8 months, or however you want to do it. But the idea, the feeling, happens after the work. So you do the work, and you begin to store up not only the actual intention of stuff, which is to heal your will. And healing your will is to love the shit out of yourself. So you find the shit and you love it, and then you ask it to go. So there's an elimination process and an accumulation process. So the empowerment is an accumulation process. The emotional release, that pain of separation, is all the trauma and drama, the separation from your most tender, most loving, most unconditional self into this conditional reality. That was painful. That's trauma. That's the drama. The broken heart, the broken relationships, the broken dreams. That's the trauma. So you release that stuff. That's the shit you release. And then the stories are always judgments and denials and beliefs. So, I'm not good enough and this and that. Those are the things you release. There's no man for me. There's a releasing process, loving the shit out of yourself. And then there's the accumulation process. You want to accumulate that absolute inclusivity and unconditional love, the ground of being. You want to accumulate your connection back to that. And so that's kind of the way I see it now. And this is very hard to put into words, because it is counterintuitive to everything that we've ever learned. We want the story, but this is the end of the story, really. It's the end of the story. At the end of the hero's journey, and he's going back to get his woman, his wife, his woman, his lover. He's going back to her, and this is the story. This is the journey back to the Godhead, then back to the infinite darkness of the void that is unconditional love and inclusive of everything. I want to live, I want to be fulfilled, because you want to get these little pieces of live. You want to connect to the tree, to the grass, to the ground, connect to everything.